Hey guys, okay, so in order to help you complete your learning circle today, I considered that a vlog, and so this is why I'm sending it out to you. So we were talking about our transthoracic pressures, our compliances, our pip pressure, our plateau pressure, and our equations that are going with that. And today the main equation that you learned was your static compliance equation, right? In your static compliance equation, you learned that your exhale tidal volume is divided by your plateau pressure minus your PEEP. For today's example, we're going to say we set PEEP to 0. For whatever reason, that's what we did. So our PEEP is at 0. Let's get rid of that guy. But our plateau pressure is there, all right? So even though plateau pressure is not interchangeable with static compliance, they don't mean the same thing, they are first cousins. Yes, first cousins. So in this relationship, if my plateau pressure increases, by default, my static compliance must go down because the variable in which my divisor is, if it's increasing, by default, my sum is decreasing, right? It's the opposite of multiplication. It is getting smaller and smaller. My product is getting smaller. Conversely, if just my PIP, my airway resistance, and when we're speaking about airway resistance, the simple terms that we can put it in is when I'm spontaneously breathing, I can take a big breath through a really gaping hole, right? When I intubate my patient, I am overcoming their airway with a tube that is by default smaller than their own airway because I have to put the ET tube inside. So, wasn't so hard, but to get the same volume through, it's a little harder. It takes a lot more power or pressure to overcome that airway. So my airway resistance goes up. Now, if just my PIP goes up, it's gonna look something like this. So remember what I just showed you with putting the ET tube in to begin with, but now I'm adding this. It's a lot more work. It's a lot more pressure to get past that, right? Both in and out. That was airhead, by the way, super delicioso. But the point is, that's a lot more work that either I have to do or the vent has to do, right? So that means my airway pressure went up. Now my transthoracic pressure is from here all the way down to the little alveoli, right? Where the oxygen finally diffuses over and the CO2 finally diffuses out. So transthoracic pressure, plateau pressure at the end of inhalation is just here, just what my lungs are doing, okay? So just lungs, transthoracic is everything, okay? And airway resistance is generally speaking here, but can become more than just that when we start thinking about things like asthma or ARDS, even CHF. So food for thought that if your plateau pressure goes up, if both your PIP and your plateau pressure go up, you have an everything problem. You definitely, no matter what, have a compliance problem because that is, your plateau pressure is part of your compliance equation.